He was told, "You're nobody. Get out and stop making a fool of yourself." He was fired, his research erased, and his friends turned their backs on him. He was left with no money, no job, no hope. But 2 years later, his theory revolutionized medicine. Now, those who destroyed his career were willing to pay millions just to silence him. But he did something no one expected. The hallways of the National Medical Center smelled of sterility and detachment. White walls, the dim glow of fluorescent lights. Everything here was as soulless as the people gathered in the conference room. Alex Hudson stood before a long table where professors, pharmaceutical executives, and influential scientific consultants sat. They looked at him with cold contempt. "Gentlemen, please, just look at this data." His voice trembled slightly, but he tried to stay confident. He turned on the projector and a table with graphs appeared on the screen. 5 habits. Just 5. If implemented, the rate of chronic diseases will drop by 60%. Average life expectancy will increase by 12 years. This is a breakthrough. This will save millions of lives. A heavy silence filled the room. Then came the laughter, loud, dismissive, humiliating. The first to laugh was Dr. Lawrence Greenwood, the chief representative of one of the largest pharmaceutical companies. He leaned back lazily in his chair, tilting his head to the side. "Oh, Hudson, do you really think we care about your habits?" He didn't even bother to hide his sarcasm. "Are you serious? No pills, no complex therapies, no billion-dollar investments? What exactly are you suggesting? Morning walks? More sleep? Oh, brilliant. Let's shut down pharmaceutical companies and just drink water and go for a run." The room burst into laughter again. Alex clenched his fists, trying not to show his anger. He had expected something different, maybe skepticism, maybe questions, but not outright mockery. "I'm offering a solution that will save lives," he said through gritted teeth. "You're offering nonsense," said Professor McGillany, a silver-haired academic, his voice firm. "Your research isn't serious. It can't be monetized. And that means it has no value." Alex felt the blood drain from his face. Monetized. That's what mattered to them. Not people's health, not science, just money. "But enough, Hudson," Greenwood interrupted, standing up. He stepped closer, leaned down, and spoke so quietly that only the two of them could hear. "You're nobody. Go home and stop making a fool of yourself." Alex opened his mouth to respond, but at that moment, a security guard was already standing beside him. "Dr. Hudson, please leave the premises." He froze, and then he heard the cold, dull click of the door closing behind him. It didn't all collapse at once. There was no loud explosion, no catastrophe overnight. It was a slow, painful destruction, like an old building rotting from the inside until, one day, it crumbles into dust. His wife was the first to leave. "I can't do this anymore, Alex. I'm tired of waiting for you to climb out of your hole." She stood in the doorway, a suitcase already in her hand. There was no anger on her face, just exhaustion. "It won't be long, He trailed off. Just what? He didn't even know. "I want a normal life," she said evenly. "You're obsessed with your theory. Proving something to these people matters more to you than your own family. I don't want to live with a failure anymore." She left without looking back. He didn't even try to stop her. Then the friends disappeared. At first, they tried to stay in touch. A few messages, a couple of calls. But every conversation ended the same way. He would talk about his research, about how unfairly he was fired, about how corporations were hiding the truth. He just wanted someone to understand. But no one wanted to listen. "Alex, you need to move on," said David, his best friend. "Accept it. No one is going to fight for you except yourself." He nodded, but said nothing. After that, the phone went silent. He was left alone. No job, no money, no faith in himself.
Every night, he sat in front of his laptop, publishing his research. He sent it to scientific journals, wrote articles, recorded videos. But they were deleted. Every time, the same response. Pseudoscience, conspiracy theories, junk science. Sometimes he imagined some moderator on the other end, lazily clicking delete without even reading the text. One day, he submitted an article to a major publication. A few days later, he got a reply. "Your material does not meet scientific standards. We do not publish unverified hypotheses." That was the breaking point. On the darkest night of his life, he walked to a bridge. The cold wind cut into his skin. Below, black water splashed, reflecting the dim glow of the streetlights. He stood there, gripping the metal railing. There was no fear in his mind, only emptiness. In the distance, a car passed by, its headlights briefly illuminating his silhouette before vanishing into the night. It was just 1 second. One step and it would all be over. But the moment he leaned forward, something clicked inside him. If the truth is on your side, find a way to prove it. His mentor's voice was so clear, it was as if he were standing right behind him. Slowly, he unclenched his fingers, stepped back from the edge, and closed his eyes. The truth was on his side. And if no one wanted to listen, he would make them.
Alex realized, if the system rejected him, then he had to create his own. No one would give him a platform, no one would promote his ideas, so he would do it himself. He created a YouTube account, launched a website, and started a social media page. For the first time in a long while, his mind was clear. He was no longer asking for permission. He was taking action. His first camera, an old webcam. His lighting, a simple desk lamp. The background, the empty walls of his rented apartment, stripped of anything unnecessary. Just a laptop, a stack of books, and piles of handwritten notes. He pressed record. Have you ever wondered why modern medicine isn't focused on making you live longer? His voice was steady, but his eyes burned with determination. He recorded his first video. It explained his concept in simple words, without complicated terms or pretentious jargon. He didn't accuse, he didn't complain. He simply shared knowledge. The first few days, 0 views. The first few weeks, 2, maybe 3 random clicks. No comments. But he kept going. Every morning, a new recording. Every evening, a new article. He started studying ways to get into people's feeds. He learned algorithms, analyzed trends, experimented with headlines. A month passed. 1,000 views. Then 2,000. 3,000. One day, while checking analytics, he saw one of his videos suddenly gaining traction. 10,000 views. 20,000. 50,000. And then, an explosion. 100,000. 1 million. 10 million. Someone had found his video. Someone had shared it. People started commenting, "I tried this and in just 2 weeks, I feel better. Why has no one told us this before?" My grandmother started following these principles, and her blood pressure stabilized. It was a snowball effect. Alex went viral. Social media was flooded with his quotes. People shared his videos, debated his concepts in comment sections. But with attention came backlash. Medical journals started writing about him. Pseudoscience, manipulator, dangerous theories. Pharmaceutical companies launched a campaign against him. His videos were deleted. His channels were banned. Articles about him disappeared from search results. But it was too late. Too many people had already heard the truth. His ideas could no longer be stopped. Alex Hudson had become a phenomenon. 2 years had passed. Once they had called him crazy. Once they had laughed at his words. Now, those same people were reading headlines from the world's leading scientific journals, headlines that proved him right. New Harvard study, 5 habits can extend life by 10 to 15 years. Discovery of the century. Simple methods to prevent deadly diseases. What we've been told for decades was a lie. Medicine was undergoing a revolution, and that revolution had one name: Alex Hudson. He stood before a packed auditorium, a conference hall in the heart of New York, 3,000 attendees, millions watching live. In the audience were not only ordinary people, but scientists, professors, doctors, the very same ones who had once rejected him. He stepped onto the stage, took the microphone, and looked out at the crowd. He saw the eyes of people searching for answers. 2 years ago, I was a nobody, he began. My name meant nothing. My research was erased. My words carried no weight. He paused, letting the room absorb his words. They told me that science stands with corporations, that truth is whatever makes money. But truth is facts, and facts can no longer be hidden. He turned to the screen, where the latest research results were displayed. Today we have proof. These 5 habits truly extend life. They help prevent cancer. They reduce the risk of heart attacks. They are saving millions of lives. The crowd erupted in applause. This victory was not just his. It belonged to everyone who had ever believed in him. After the speech, reporters, renowned businessmen, and politicians approached him. Alex, we're ready to invest. Millions, if not billions. Your method could become the global standard. But he only smiled. I don't sell the truth. The offers kept coming. Contracts, deals, astronomical sums. But he could not take money from those who had once tried to destroy him. Instead, he continued doing what he had started, telling people the truth. Now, his name was known in every corner of the world. Millions of lives had changed because he refused to give up. Alex had proven more than just his own correctness. He had proven something far greater. If you know the truth is on your side, fight for it to the very end.